Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the VK101P. It's a Tier 8 German heavy tank located on the southeast spawn of Fjords. This one is under the command of SlyMeerkat, and alongside him in the 7032 is Omen Enraged, his usual partner. Let's see how they get on. Okay, game on. Now the 101P was designed by Porsche, that's why it's got the P at the end. It was originally going to be a 100-ton tank, but Hitler wanted more armour and it went up to 120 tons. They started design work in June of 1940, no it was March of 42 that they started the design work. They completed the design by May 42 and they had a revised version which came out in June of 1942, and that's when it was actually cancelled. There's some paperwork which says that this tank was going to originally be called the Mammoth, or Mammoth, but the British later decided no, the Mammoth was a different tank altogether, and in actual fact it was going to be called the Mouse, and that name went to Malchen. And you know that's a different tank altogether, and then of course when they changed the design altogether it finally became the Mouse. Well, what can I tell you, it's got a 128mm gun which is capable of 440 alpha, and that makes it one of the highest alphas at tier 8. You can see that it's got penetration of 220mm with standard rounds, and with the premium rounds it goes up to 260. Now the armour on this thing is very tough at the front. In fact, the only weak spot, the only appreciable weak spot, is the lower place, and it's very small. The only best place to hit one of these and get a pen is actually to try and penetrate the sides and the rear, or if you've got a tier 10 tank, and this is the bottom tier, then yes, you can hit it with heat rounds and that will normally go straight through the cupola. But don't try and take out the cupola if you haven't got that, because if you haven't got the pen, you're just not going to make it through. And it does have very thick armour at the front of the vehicle. Hitler kept on asking for more armour to be added. And in fact, actually, they did say, well, what about having a machine gun for the crew to fend off the troops? Because obviously a soldier could just run up alongside the vehicle with a mine and put that on the back of the vehicle and then run away if there was no machine guns to actually fend them off. But Hitler said no, this tank will have other tanks accompanying him, and those will be the tanks that actually have the 75mm guns and the machine guns that are able to hose the enemy down and take care of them. Well, he's taken hits from the IS-32, and I suspect that went through the lower plate, that one. But, oh, he's just had another hit from the IS-32. Yes, he's not having much luck against that guy. And he's just been hitting the tracks as well. This tank does have skirts, which actually kind of protect the sides to deter anyone putting a mine on the vehicle. But it doesn't stop the soldier, if he's brave enough, to lob a mine onto the engine deck and then run away, if he can run away in time. Well, the design never actually got built because, of course, Hitler changed his mind again and they went with the Malchen and the Mouse design instead. Nice shot there into the M48 pattern. And he's getting assistance now because he's spotting the Tortoise and the IS-32. Oh! Blew the M48 pattern, the top tier pattern, to pieces with one round. He's now got 2.5k. Going for the Tortoise. Well, that was supposed to track him, but it did go through the sides of the vehicle. And now Omen Enraged turned up. And, oh, although we've been tracked, Omen Enraged is going to have a go at that Mouse as well. He's trying to wait for the weak spot. Let's see if SlyMeerkat can get it. Yes, easily. Look at that. 450 straight through the machine gun port. Now one other... Oh, he's got the kill. So he's now got 3,853 hit points. And he's not finished yet because there's still 3 enemy tanks out there. He's got the A Phase 1, an Object 257 and a Scorpion G. Now one thing you probably won't run short of in this tank is actually the ammo, because it does have a lot of ammo, 50 rounds in this one. And so in fact you get more rounds if you've got the 105mm, which is the stock gun. But the stock gun is absolutely terrible, it really is diabolically bad. But this gun, the 128, is much better. Now you can see that Sly has got 2 marks of excellence already on this gun, and he's working towards his 3rd mark. But this is the first of 3 videos. Owen Rage has got the AE Phase 1, and that is the end of the game. So it's a victory for SlyMeerkat. Here's the end of battle results from the first game, and that was an ace tanker game for SlyMeerkat in the VK100-01P. He got a spotter badge there for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage. In fact, he was spotting the damage being done to the IS-32 and the other enemy tanks that were nearby. In fact, the E75TS, he got spotting assist on him, he got spotting assist on Tortoise, even on the Kampfpanzer 50-ton he managed to get spotting on that guy as well, and that obviously helped him get a higher score and get his ace tanker. He also got a shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle, and a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle, but he didn't get any other medal in the game. I think he was a little short of getting enough to get the high caliber. Let's have a look at team score. Well, in this one, he did get the highest damage, but he didn't get 20% of the enemy hit pool. He got 3,853 hit points, with Opening Rage getting 3,211. And the 3rd highest damage in the game was actually the UDS 1516 on his team with 2,766. When it came to kills, it was Opening Rage who got 3 kills. 2 kills went to the FV217 Badger, the VK, well, SlyMeerkat in his VK, and also to the TNHT Viz 51, and only 1 enemy tank managed to get more than 1 kill, and that was the Tortoise. In fact, only 3 enemy vehicles actually managed to get a kill at all in that game, so it shows the quality of the players. One of them was doing rather well, and that was of course the T110E3, but then of course he does have a rather big gun, and so does the Tortoise for that matter, so that's why they were doing well, even though the rest of the team were doing diabolically bad. Anyway, let's have a look at detail. Oh, did we do base XP? Yes, I think we did, didn't we? No, we didn't. Actually, let's have a look at base XP. Sly got that one with 1,471. 1,344 went to Omen Enraged, and the next highest player has under 1,000. Is 856 for the Badger. So you can see it was Omen Enraged and Sly who were basically carrying that team across the finish line. When it came to details, he fired 13 shots, got 11 direct hits on the enemy, 9 penetrations, 3,853 hit points, all of it done at close range. He received 10 hits from the enemy, only 3 of which actually penetrated. And the IS-32 was the one who got 2 of those. 7 non-penetrations and 2,500 hit points of damage blocked by armour. He spotted 2 enemy vehicles, damaged 5 of the enemy, killed 2, and did 1,317 hit points of spotting assist. He earned 44,423 credits for the game, 33,318 from personal reserves, a total of 106,616 credits altogether, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, took away a profit of 15,358 credits. 1,471 XP, 331 for playing in a platoon, 2,538 experience points altogether. So that was a pretty profitable gun, and of course it was an ace tanker. Let's have a look and see if he can do the same in the second game. In the second game, this time round, SlyMeerkat is on the opposite spawn point on Fjords, and alongside him in the Samur SM is Omen Enraged. Okay, let's see if we can do it the opposite way. Now you can see there's quite a big, wide lower plate there for you to aim at if you want to try and penetrate the VK. And you can see also they've got the very wide tracks. That's the first iteration you've seen these very wide tracks that eventually end up on the Mauschen and the Mouse. But of course, they also reduced the size of the lower plate to make it less vulnerable. It does have some of the design cues, you might say, of the Tiger II in that long, narrow turret. But of course, when they went over to the mouse, they actually made it quite a bit smaller, if you can say smaller, because after all, it's fitting the same gun, and more boxy. The mistake a lot of people make when they play against this tank is that they aim for the cupola thinking it's a weak spot and find out that it's not. It's the opposite. It's not a weak spot. Anyway, it also has a very good view range, this tank, 400 meters, would you believe it? But it has a terrible top speed, only 20 kilometers an hour forwards and 15 in reverse. So it's like the TOG 2, you know, it eventually gets there at the end of the game. It arrives at the other end, but if the enemy was to start capping whilst you were near the enemy cap, you've got a very long drive to get back and try and get a reset. In fact, you probably won't be able to make it in time. Well, Omen Enraged is nicely in position with his gun depression and his 5 shells, and he's telling the IS and the to fall back to give him a chance to get through and start doing some damage. After all, the IS hasn't really got the armour, but he really has. His first shot ricochets off the IS-3, but he can easily do damage to that 150, but the IS, well, he's stuck around too long and now he's a wreck. Bit of a mistake that. If only he pulled back when Sly told him to. Okay, you can see the mark on the IS-3's turret where the shell went in. It's that green spot. He's waiting for the IS-3 to expose himself. That's better. Oh, it didn't work. He was going for the soft spot on the top of the tank, which is the weak spot on an IS-3. Just didn't work though. But he'll go again. Wait for it. That's better. And a high roll at 453. The Jagdpanther is getting anxious. He wants to get in there and get some damage. So Sly's pushing. And he notices the other IS, which is actually an IS-5. Sitting on the other side, and the IS-3 makes a big mistake, but it's a low roll for 427. As soon as he's got that IS-3 out the way, they'll start dealing with the IS-5. Oh, he's come across, and I have no idea where that shell went because it didn't contact the IS-5. Probably went straight over the top of him. Now, can you get a shell into the roof? Wait for it. That's it. Well, he waited until the guy dipped just as he braked, but it didn't go through the weak spot. Should be able to do it this time then. Low. Oh yes! 424, low roll. It's got back up from Omen Enraged. Now, I think there's a 122 TM sitting just around the corner, and you know that that's a Chinese premium with a 122mm gun. Yeah, Omen Enraged just took a hit, but Sly should be able to go around the corner now and bully that 122. Oh, thank you. Gives us the lower plate and a high roll for 460. Pull back, Omen Enraged, you're in danger. I think Omen Enraged was anxious to use his 120mm shells. It was a 100mm shells actually on the Samu, I think. Well, there's a T-150, he should be able to take care of that quickly, but it's the IS-5 that he wants to kill first. And another high roll for 485. There's an 88 down there, but I'm wondering if he's pointing the opposite direction or not. T-150 can't trouble us, but the IS-5 did get around into our tracks. The reload time is actually quite long, 14.38 seconds is standard. But Sly's got it down to 11.09. Oh, and there goes the IS-5. This gun just scythes through the enemy. It's just that massive penetration, standard penetration of 220. The T150 is really going to take it now. Yep, and he goes out the game to a shot from Omen Enraged, who also dealt with the 88 while Sly wasn't looking. So he's got 2 kills and he's now in reload. Now there's still 6 enemies out there, including 2 Artys. But Sly now does have 20% of the enemy hit pool, so he might have a high caliber from this game. Just killed the Tiger. Oh! Enemy tanks in sight. In fact, it's an Arty first. He didn't contact that. He should be loading his HE to deal with the Su-14-1. Open top to Artys do go down better with HE that's fired, even with low penetration, because of course the crew are all on the outside of the vehicle. Okay, GW and he's gone with 1 shot. The Super Chappy is hiding, but it's not going to do him any good, because Sly can just push him into the water if he wants to. Well, he shoots him as well. He gets some ram damage and some shots. The Super Chappy actually fired an HE round at Sly, but yes, I'm not so sure that he was actually going to come off well. Oh, careful, Omen Enraged, don't knock him into the water. Well, the Su-14-1 has gone, which means there's no chance for a Prosciutchis, but that is the end of the game, and it's a victory. Well, here's the end of battle results for the second game, and that was another ace tanker for SlyMeerkat in the VK100-01P. It doesn't matter which end you start from, if you've got a tank like this, you can generally beat the enemy, because it's got just massive penetration and massive armour. So, yeah, it might be a bit slow, but it's good once it gets there. He also got a Hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemies, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He actually ended up with 5 in this one, 1 short of the Top Gun, 1/3 of the enemy team, a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle, and a shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. He ended up with a steel wall because he blocked the most damage in that game overall, and yes, with all that armour you'd expect him to, as well as a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. Yes, so he did get more than 20% and the highest damage. And let's have a look at the team score and see where he stood. Well, the highest damage he did in that game was 4,338. The next highest scorer was the 122 TM on his own team with 2,918. And then we got Omen Enraged with 2,012. Nobody on the enemy team could get close to them, really. When it came to kills, it was Sly again. He got 5 kills. 3 kills went to the 122 TM. 2 kills went to Omen Enraged, the Strid M4257, and also to the AMX 12-ton and the T3485 on the enemy team. Again, only 4 players on the enemy team actually managed to get a kill. When it came to base XP, Sly's got that one, so he's got the top in all 3 columns. And he got 1,371. Omen Enraged got 903, so he was just under 1,000 on this one, on this occasion. And I think the reason for that may be that while Sly was sitting in that pass, he was actually holding up Omen Enraged, and that's why Omen Enraged wanted to get through the pass and took the risks and actually took some damage in the process to try and hurry it along so he could get some damage as well. It almost cost him his life because he did take considerable shots from the enemy. But, of course, he did benefit afterwards because after Sly pushed his way through, put a big round into the T150, Omen Enraged managed to deal with the 88 and then killed the T150 just for good measure with his reloader. So, yes, he managed to get 2 very profitable shots in, 2 kills straight away just like that. Sly fired 17 rounds in that game, got 15 direct hits on the enemy, earned 12 penetrations. I think he was having difficulty with that IS-3, trying to put the shells through the roof of the vehicle. It is the weak spot, either that or to get the lower plate. But for some reason, the shells just weren't cooperating. They weren't going through. But that's how you do it. You actually wait until the enemy vehicle moves towards the rock, brakes and dips the top of his turret, and then you see that flat area on the top of the turret, and that's when you aim for it, and that's where the shells should go straight through. 4,338 hit points of damage, all of it done at close range. 15 hits received from the enemy, 3 penetrations, 11 non-penetrations, and 1 hit by way of splash damage, 3,350 hit points, damage blocked by armor. He spotted 3 enemy vehicles, damaged 6 of the enemy, killed 5, and he earned 45,052 credits from the game, 33,789 from personal reserves, 20,273 from battle payments, and 50,407 from personal missions payout, bringing it to a grand total of 178,805 credits. And because he used standard ammo in this game, and it worked very effectively, he ended up with a huge profit of 134,087 credits altogether. 1,371 XP, 4,114 from personal missions payout, 309 for playing the platoon, 6,480 experience points altogether. So a good game for Sly and a good game for Omen Enraged in that sense as well, because he got half the damage Sly did, for obvious reasons, 2 kills and just a little bit below Sly on XP. That's the end of the second battle. Let's have a look at the third one. The last battle is on the north spawn of El Halluf, and this time round Omen Enraged is actually in a Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger, so I think he's going to be doing some sniping while Sly is going to be doing some fighting. Again, we're setting off for the northwest corner of the map at a glacial speed. Really is very, very slow. 20 kilometers an hour maximum speed forward, 15 kilometers back, and it's also got a fairly slow traverse as well, which makes it very difficult to maneuver this thing, especially when you need to in a hurry. It's also fairly vulnerable because not only are the sides of the vehicle fairly flat, it makes it easier for the enemy tanks to penetrate the sides, and they can penetrate the sides, they just can't penetrate the front of the vehicle. But there's also another glaring point that you need to remember. If you're looking at a VK101P, and we're looking at the side of one right now, there's a, if I use the cursor, you might be able to see the cursor, all of that area there is ammo rack. And this area here, this big box on the rear of the turret, that's also an ammo rack. So if you can punch a shell through there, there's a fairly good chance you might be able to blow this tank up with just one shot. Just need to make sure it goes in the right place. On the opposite side of the tank, there's a much smaller ammo rack near the front in this area, but at the back here is a fuel tank. So if you want to set the vehicle alight, you aim back here. If you want to blow it up, you hit here. And on the opposite side of the vehicle, basically from just about the gun mantlet all the way back, is the ammo rack. So he's managed to make it to the northwest corner. And the enemy Arty's in play, because we can see one of our tanks has been stunned. It's an Su-14-2, the school bus, and he's probably got the 203mm howitzer. So more than likely we're going to get stunned at some point by his shells.
Requesting support.
Okay, he goes around the corner. IS-3 on their opposite corner, but he hasn't poked his head round yet. A lot of their tanks are sitting on that spot over there. TNH 105. Nice! Gets a high roll for 451, and the enemy's got a Caliban over in the opposite corner. Yeah, he's trying to tell that Skoda from falling back, and he just got hit by the Arty. The reason I mention the Arty is that VK101Ps are Arty magnets. They're so slow, it's very easy to get accurate shots and land them. Oh, nice shot into the Caliban. Low roll though, 397. He can one-shot the Caliban if he can get one on him. The Skoda's taking a plastering, and I think it's the opposite number. Yes, the enemy Skoda, and he's firing rounds in. As you can see, the Skoda does do a lot of damage each of those rounds. I think if I remember correctly, the alpha for them is around about 450, which means they can do about 900 alpha with 2 rounds. And the Skoda's really badly damaged now. He should have listened to us and pulled back, but Sly can't force the enemy, his teammates, to do what they need to do for their own good. And now the Skoda's out the game. Oh, GSOR puts a round through the side, gets a high roll 452. But the GSOR is now one shot. The Pershing's going in deep. A pushing Pershing. Oh, we did take a round. But unfortunately now we're receiving fire from the GSOR, the Pershing and the TNH. Here he goes. One shot out of the game. He's still taking rounds from the Pershing, but that's much more preferable than taking a round from that Skoda, because the Pershing can only do 90mm worth of damage, whereas the Skoda can do a lot more. And the Skoda's coming in behind us. He goes in for the ram kill, takes one round for 465, kills the Pershing. Yes, but he took another hit from the Skoda and lost 961 hit points. He needed that. But he can take the Skoda out with one round. He's a one shot. Aim for the Capella. Yes! That's justice. Okay, that means there's an IS-3 and a Caliban behind that corner. But he is a one shot for the Caliban if the Caliban can get the shot in. So he doesn't really want to get hit. He was lucky that he didn't get ammo racked. You see two shells went right through his ammo rack. That Skoda knew exactly where to aim. Okay, he's trying to side scrape to get one of them. Well, the IS-3 takes a hit and it's a high roll. The Strip moves up and he takes the round from the Caliban. So who's going to get the next shell? The IS-3 gets killed, so the Caliban is now easy meat. And the enemy Arty comes in and there's the Caliban gone. So he's been tracked and he's been stunned. But there's only 3 enemies left. The Arty, a Progetto and a Scorpion. And it's the plainclothes Scorpion, the Rheinmetall one. Somewhere up ahead. Okay, there's the Progetto. Long range shots. Nice! Low roll though. There's the Scorpion. You'll probably get around into him except for the long reload. Trying for the Progetto again. Yes, got the engine bay this time in a high roll for 503. The Scorpion's down, which means there's only 2 left. This Progetto and the SU-14-2 school bus. Tried to get a leading shot on the Progetto, couldn't get it. And he's now hiding behind a building. He knows that we're deadly at this range. He doesn't want to get hit by a 128mm round. Just as deadly as the Scorpion. Pershing's trying to push him out of there. There he is. Oh, didn't work. Can we get another one on him? Well, it looks like the Arty had a go at the Pershing. If he can push the Progetto back, we can get him. Yes! Kill shot. That's 5. That only leaves the Arty. And there he goes. And he's gone, and that's a victory for SlyMeerkat. I suspect that SlyMeerkat was smiling at the end of that battle because he got enough to get his 3rd mark of excellence on the VK100-01P. Congratulations. He also got a high caliber, an ace, wasn't it? High caliber, he got an ace tanker for that game as well as the duelist, a fighter badge and a fire for effect. And yes, he did get the high caliber for dealing the most damage in that game overall. Very effective game, showing how strong the VK was, although he did take 2 shots from that Skoda T56 because he selected to actually focus on the Pershing, who was only pumping rounds which were 200 hit points at a time into his body, and neglected to deal with the Skoda, who could pump 900 into his body with 2 shots, and promptly did. So let's have a look at team score and see how well he did. 4,643 hit points of damage in that battle. The next highest scorer was the Progetto on the enemy team with 2,997. That was the one that he shot right at the end. And then the Skoda T56 with 2,683, and 1,000 of that, or nearly 1,900 of that belonged to Sly. And 2,272 hit points went to the Lanson C on the enemy team. When it came to kills, Sly got that one with 5 kills. 2 kills went to the T103, to the Panhard, and to the Borsig, which of course was Omen Enraged, and 4 members of the enemy team, their Skoda T56, their Scorpion, their Caliban and their Progetto all got 2 kills apiece. But when it came to base XP, yeah, Sly got that one, and he got 1,363, and that means he's got the tops in all 3 columns in this game. 1,134 went to the Panhard, 776 went to the Bisonte C45, and we can see Omen Enraged got 591 out of that one with 1,194 hit points of damage and 2 kills. I suppose really it would have been more efficient, I suppose, to use the use another heavy tank, but he decided he wanted to go tank destroyer on this occasion, and that way he wasn't really there to back up Sly when he needed it. But Sly did manage to cope with the enemy. Let's have a look at the detail report. 15 shots fired, 13 direct hits and 13 penetrations. Damage of 4,643, of which 1,070 were at more than 300 meters. So yes, he did fire some long range shots at the enemy Progetto and managed to get that guy. 7 hits received from the enemy, 4 penetrations, 3 non-penetrations and 1 hit by way of splash damage. Well, 2 of those penetrations came from the Skoda T56 and another one came from the Pershing. I think it may have been 2 actually came from the Pershing. And he also received 1 hit by way of splash damage. That was the enemy Arty trying to get him. Just 1 shot when he was trying to engage the Caliban. 630 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 5, did 9 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 44,992 credits in the battle, 33,744 from personal reserves, 20,246 from battle payments, 63,764 from personal missions payout, a grand total of 191,995 credits. This is a very good score. But he did have to use some premium ammo in this game because he was up against some serious opponents, including that Skoda. And as a result, he actually ended up with 87,407 credits profit, but it's still a profit, and he got his 3rd mark. 1,363 XP times 2 for the first victory, 307 for playing the platoon, 4,397 experience points altogether. Once you've got a 3rd mark, it never goes away, and now he's got it on the VK. And I'm sure that Sly is going to be marking some other tanks, and we've got some more of his replays, some of the really old ones actually. We've found some old ones of his, and we'll be doing those next. So stick around on our channel, you might see something interesting. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.